Hey, my name is McGuire, and today we're going to do a little run through of my workflow when it comes to tuning a pair of skis. Just we're going to go over the basics, what I would consider to be a tune of a pair of skis. Nothing over the top, nothing left out. I've seen quite a few videos lately like this on YouTube, and I figured I'd give it a shot, just to show what I do and a complete run through, sharpening, waxing, full process. So yeah, I've never really made a video like this, but let's give it a shot. Hope you guys learned something. Alright, so I'm going to start off by doing a little run through of all the tools I will be using in today's video. I'm going to do a little close-up and show you what they are, what they look like, what they do, and hopefully that'll give you a little better understanding of why I'm using them and what I'm using them for, and should help you follow along a little better with the video. Alright, so this is the first tool I'm going to be talking about. This is my Toco multi-edge angle adjustable file guide. It does everything from a 90-degree angle to a 85-degree angle, and I'm going to be tuning at 89 today for the skis I'm doing. It's really all you need. It does everything well, but ideally I would be using one of these. This is a solid metal file guide. It's a little bit more precise. You just clamp the files to the top, but for the skis I'm doing, I've got to do them at 89 degrees, and I only have an 87. I might talk about this in another video if I'm going to do a race tune style video, but this is pretty good too, but this will work just fine for today's video. Alright, next up, this is my metal file. This is a Holman Cole 15-tooth racing file. I don't use this every single time I tune my skis, probably only once every 15 times I use them. Using it more than that's a little unnecessary, and it's going to take off too much material off your edge, which will shorten the life of your ski pretty considerably. These here are diamond files. This blue one here is a 320 grit, and this red one is a 600 grit. Both of these are made by DMT. They're quite a bit cheaper than the Swix or Holman Cole ones, and they work just as well. They've lasted me almost 3 years and still going strong. Probably the most important part of your edge tuning. This is what's going to allow you to get that super nice finished polished edge that's razor sharp. Without this, you're not really going to be able to get that. Alright, so the next tool I'm going to be talking about are my roto brushes. So we're moving on to waxing now. And before you wax your skis, you need to clean the base. So that can be done either with a base cleaner or wax remover, or a brass brush. So this brass brush goes onto this handle here, and then gets attached to a drill on this side, and then you use this to spin and brush out the wax left over from the last time it was waxed in the base of your ski. Alternatively to this, you can for sure use a hand brush. I'm just going to use a roto brush because it's a lot faster. So next up, this is my iron. Nothing special. It's got an adjustable temperature. You're going to want to make sure you have the temperature set correctly for the wax that you're using. Like I said, nothing special, does the job. So next you're going to need some wax. I'm using Holman Cole Beta Mix Red, just because that's what's going to work for the temperature we've got coming up. I like to write on the lid what temperature I need to set my iron to, just so I don't forget. This is my wax scraper. Any wax scraper will work. I've got a little arrow pointing towards the edge that I'm sharpening, so I have a sharp scraper every time I use it. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about the brushes I'll be using after waxing. So after I've scraped the wax off, I'm going to start by using this horsehair brush here. The horsehair brush will help get rid of the wax I didn't get with the scraper. Then the nylon brush is going to be our finishing brush to polish out the base and give it a nice shiny surface, which will glide a little bit better. Alright, let's get into actually tuning our skis now. So our first step is we're going to want to do the side edges. We're going to want to do this first before waxing, just so we're not gunking up our files with any wax. What we're going to want to do is pop them in the ski vices like so on the 90-degree angle. Alright, so once we got our ski in the vise, you're going to want to take your file guide, set it to the correct edge angle. These skis I'm tuning at 89 degrees today, so I've got that set there. And then you're going to want to take your metal file, stick it in your file guide, get that tightened down nice and tight, and then we can start filing. Alright, so we're going to get started filing the skis now. I like to wear gloves got my hands on skis too many times to not wear them, especially with the metal files because you're putting quite a bit of pressure down on the ski. So to start with this, we're going to start from tip to tail, and we're not going to go back and forth with the file rested on the ski. We're going to go one smooth pass, lift up, come back. Turn back to the front and do a full pass along the whole ski. And that should be good. Alright, so next I've got my 320 grit diamond file in my file guide. With this, I'm going to be using a mixture of rubbing alcohol and water as a lubricant. You could use something like beast juice, but I find this works just as well. This keeps the dust down and does a little better job at getting your skis nice and sharp. So to do this, I just spray across the whole ski and then on the file as well. And then with the diamond file, you're going to want to file the ski so you can't hear it making any more like noises sounding like it's hitting rough patches of metal. Basically, you're essentially just polishing the edge and bringing the very, very point of the edge down to the finest, sharpest point you can. Alright, so I'm just going to wipe down my files after I'm done with that, and wipe down the ski edge as well before switching to the next file. Alright, so next I've got my 600 grit diamond file. Same thing, spray it again with a little water mixture, spray the file as well. And just do the same thing we did before with the more coarse diamond file. Alright, so now that we're finished all four side edges, we're going to move on to deburring the base edge. To do that, I'm going to use the coarse diamond file. We're not changing the edge angle here, we're just simply deburring, removing any, like say you skied over a rock and it's going to create a little bit of damage on the base edge, just smoothing that out a little bit. So to start, we're going to start with brushing the ski. I'm doing this with a roto brush. This is a brass brush on my drill here. We're going to start from the tail, work our way to the tip. You don't want to be brushing over top of wax dust because that's going to get re-embedded back into the base of the ski. So we're starting at the tail here, we're going to go work our way through the ski. In each pass, I'm going to take a paintbrush, brush off the dust that came out of the base, because you don't want that going back into the base. Alright, to the other side of the ski. And then we're going to brush it again. Alright, so now that our base is cleaned and prepared, we're going to move on to actually putting wax on the base. So to do this, we've got our iron, we've got our wax. We're going to hold the wax on the iron, drip it down. I like to get a little zigzag, get a nice even coat across the whole ski. You can't put too much, but you can put too little. You need enough to cover the whole surface of the base. Too much, you're just wasting wax, but nothing wrong with that, I guess. Alright, so now that we've got the wax on the base of the ski, we need to work the wax into the base. So we do this by rubbing the iron back and forth across the ski. This saturates the base and the wax is absorbed into the plastic. You got to be careful not to keep your iron in one place for too long because you can overheat a ski. It's not great for it. It could cause delamination or it could warp the base. It's also a contributing factor into bases becoming a concave shape, which is pretty hard to work with once that happens. So we're just working our way down the ski, getting a nice even coat across the whole ski. And once I'm done working it in, once I get to the tail here, we're going to do one smooth pass from the tail to the tip, and then back. So on our smooth pass, we're trying to be as smooth as possible, watching for the bead of wax on the front of the iron. And this will give us a really nice smooth coat, as opposed to like the jaggy back and forth that we were doing earlier. And then we're going to do a second one to get it perfect. Being careful not to stop the iron anywhere. There we go. Alright, now that we got our skis freshly waxed, we're going to pop them back in the vise and get scraping the ski. We're now moving on to scraping the ski. So I'm going to start by just clearing all the wax off the edge. And just quickly run that down there. And then back up the other side. So I'm using a nice sharp edge of my scraper here. We're going to pull this across the ski like so. Careful not to run it back and forth, picking it up as we go back towards the tip. And this with this, you want to be careful not to put too much pressure in one area of the ski. So if you put too much pressure in the middle, you're going to create a concave base shape, which we really don't want. That being said, it is kind of hard to hurt your skis with a plastic scraper. You're going to want to get as much of the wax off as possible, just to make it a little easier when you're brushing the ski. Now we're going to use our little brush again just to get all the excess wax, shavings, and dust off. Alright, so now that our base is scraped, we're going to move on to brushing. Alright, so moving on again, we're going to switch back to the roto brush. Move the horsepower brush, pop that on my drum. I'm going to brush out the wax that we couldn't get with the scraper. So this is just another step of removing the wax we just put on. So then again, like before when we were cleaning the base, I want to brush all of the dust that came off the brush off. We're going to do another pass on the other side of the ski. And we're going to give it one more for good measure. And then brush again. So now we're going to switch over real quick to our nylon brush. The nylon brush just gives it a nice finished polish texture, which is going to glide faster on the snow. And then again, like always, brushing all of the dust off. And we're done with the roto brush. I'm just going to show you guys real quick how to brush with a hand brush, in case you don't have one of those. But I would highly recommend that. It saves a ton of time. With a hand brush, you might take 20 minutes to achieve what you can with that in 45 seconds. Brushing with the ski, tip to tail. Same kind of thing. Does the same thing, just a lot easier with the roto brush. And there you have it. That's how you tune a pair of skis. These skis are done. All we gotta do now is pack them back up. When I'm packing away my skis, all of the time, I'm gonna put a ski strap on them. At least one at the top. My own skis, I use 3, one on the tip, one on the tail, and one over the bindings, just keeps them together a little better. I find that really helps if you're putting them in a tule or even in the back of your car, keeping the edges from rubbing against each other, which will dull them over time. And it can also cause some weird scrapes in the base of your ski if you're not strapping your skis. So it's really important to keep them together. I tell everyone this, put your ski straps on, they're important. Alright, that's it for today's video. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope that helped you out a little bit. I hope you learned something. I may make another video in the future. I might do a video with my own skis about more high performance race edge tuning, getting that perfect finish, getting the maximum sharpness out of your skis. I also might make a video explaining edge angles. I'm not sure yet. We'll see if we get around to it. But that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.